Hello?
The exorcism began for her, but it ended for everyone.
Hey you, will you play with me?
Welcome to my haunted world. Hello everyone. I hope you're all well. Today I'll share with you a story based on true events, Tanacu, the crucified nun's final night. Behind this tale lies a horrifying real incident from 2005, a silent monastery in Romania, a young nun, and an exorcism that didn't end with her death. This isn't a fictional tale, so listen carefully, because some stories never end, they just linger beside us. Let's begin. This story is based on a terrifying real event known as the Tanacu Exorcism. In 2005, in the remote village of Tanacu in Romania, a young nun named Irina Cornici was believed to be possessed. A priest and 4 nuns performed an exorcism, tying her to a cross. After 3 days, Irina died. The case was so shocking that it made international headlines and has since been the subject of books, documentaries, and films. The names in this story have been changed to protect the identities of those who were involved, many of whom are still alive today. In a quiet village in northeastern Romania, a young journalist named Alex Muresan sat with a photo of an old chapel lying by the roadside in Tanacu. It was a lazy afternoon, the sky dim and overcast. One hand held a notepad, the other a cheap cigarette. He stared at the infamous chapel, the one with a dark history. He knew that no one ever wanted to return here, and yet he had come, willingly. Not for an article, but for something deeply personal. His sister had died the previous year in a mental facility, following strange behavior and terrifying dreams. On the last page of her diary, she had written, "He was here too. Like Irina. Irina, a name no longer spoken in the village of Tanacu." As Alex placed his hand on the old chapel's wooden door, he felt something like a faint pulse, warm, like human skin. There was a strange scent in the air, like chlorine from a pool, mixed with old hand sanitizer. Then he heard a whisper behind him. "You came for Irina, didn't you?" He turned around. No one was there, only the wind, and far away through the trees, a church bell was ringing. But this chapel didn't have a bell. Alex stepped inside. On the floor, a cross drawn in white chalk, a wooden box beside it. On the wall hung a crucifix, upside down. Below it, a framed handwritten line. "I believed in God, but he didn't believe in me." Alex knew this wasn't just reporting. He was here to find the truth, to see if a girl's screams still lingered in these walls. And then, from the left window, he suddenly saw it. A face covered in black cloth, faceless, floating, watching. On the second day, Alex returned to the monastery. Though it looked calm under the morning sun, something felt wrong. At the main gate stood an elderly guard. He looked at Alex once and said, "You want to know about Irina, but she isn't here anymore." Then, without another word, he turned and walked away. Alex entered. The walls were coated in old peeling paint, as if the building wanted to forget. Room 3. This was where Irina once stayed. Inside, everything was clean, neat, but a strange smell lingered, like decaying roses near a stagnant pond. Near the bed was a small glass bottle with dried herbs. The label had faded. Only one word remained: protection. One old leather shoe stuck out from under the bed. Its pair was missing. On one wall, scratched in faint writing, "He comes through the walls." Alex took out his phone to take a photo, and suddenly the door slammed shut behind him. No breeze, no movement. Later in the chapel's prayer room, Alex spoke to a nun, Sister Petra. She looked down and said, "Irina was fine at first, but within weeks her eyes changed. She would look at us and say, 'We are in a cage and he's come for the key.' Every night she woke up at exactly 3:04 a.m. She kept saying a priest had entered her room, but none of us had gone." Alex asked, "Do you believe she was possessed?" Sister Petra did not reply. She only said, "I know she wasn't speaking in her own voice, and that voice was male." Returning to Irina's room, Alex noticed something else. A small drawing of an eye on the wall. Beneath it, a line. "He sees through the silence." He turned to leave, but the door had locked itself. From outside the wall, he heard soft footsteps, barefoot, slow, dragging something heavy. Then suddenly, the light went out, and that drawn eye on the wall began to glow.
After that terrifying night, Alex couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard footsteps in the room. Not walking, but dragging, like someone pulling old shoes across rough floor. At dawn, he returned to Irina's room, this time looking for evidence, something personal she might have left behind. Reaching under the old wooden cabinet, his fingers touched something. A small, green notebook. Dusty, old, but the pages still intact. The first page read, "Irina C. Don't read unless he lets you." Alex hesitated. Then he began flipping through the pages. Some were scribbled with frantic notes. Others had blacked out lines. On one page, Irina had written, "He came through the wall on the first night. I was awake, but I couldn't move. He didn't ask anything, just stared at me. He touched my throat and said, 'I'll need this voice.'" Alex shuddered. He kept reading. Another page said, "They say I'm sick, but I know I've just seen what must not be seen. Now he steals my sleep. He said, 'If I'm tied to the cross, I'll be free.'" At the corner of one page, a name, Father Adrian. Next to it, he said prayer, but he said it backwards. Alex realized maybe it wasn't just Irina. Something darker had infected others too. That exorcism might have been just a cover. As he left the room, light rain had started. He noticed behind the monastery someone had carved Irina into the stone wall, but the carving was backwards, as if done from the inside. Then came the bell. 3:04 p.m., Irina's waking hour. Alex stood silent. After the bell stopped, he heard a girl chanting, deep and guttural, not from afar, but from the other side of the wall. Alex was allowed just a few minutes inside the monastery's old records room. But in those few minutes, he found something disturbing. A cassette tape, labeled Confession, Cornici, I. Date 29 April 2005. Time 15:04. The same time Irina would awaken every day. Back in his rented room, Alex found a tape player and played it. At first, silence. Then the sound of chairs, a man's voice, perhaps a priest. Then a girl's voice, broken and shaky. I came here to serve, but he changed my name. The priest asked, Who is he? Irina paused, then answered, Your face has his shadow. You called him. He's using you. Suddenly loud banging, chairs scraping, and then Irina's voice changed, deeper, male, cold. I will not leave. She broke the promise. Alex froze. The fear wasn't in the words, it was in the way they were spoken. At the end of the tape, another voice, possibly Sister Petra, whispered, She stared for 17 minutes without blinking. Her eyes weren't right. In fact, she didn't have eyes, just deep voids. That night, the voices echoed in Alex's ears. He reached to stop the tape, but the button wouldn't work. He tried to eject it, jammed. Then the speaker whispered, Is your name Alex? Alex turned. No one was there. He realized he was no longer investigating the story. He was becoming part of it. A page from Irina's diary flipped open in a windless room. It read, He only enters when you know his name. And now, you know. Alex eventually managed to find Father Adrian. He no longer served at any church. After the Tanacu incident, he had been excommunicated and moved far away to a remote cottage in the mountains. When Alex arrived, he introduced himself, not as a journalist, but as a friend of someone concerned for a relative. The priest didn't want to speak at first. His face was rigid, eyes bloodshot, as if sleep had abandoned him years ago. At last, breaking the silence, he said, If you have the cassette in your hands, then you've already heard too much. And if you've heard it, there's no point in asking questions. Alex calmly asked, Why did you believe there was something inside Irina? The priest was silent for a moment, then said, We always look up for spirits, but some rise from below. Irina never screamed, but her silence was louder than any scream. He continued, One morning, I stood outside her room. She had called for me, but not with her voice, just sound inside my head. She said, You don't know it, but you've already awakened him. Alex asked, Then why did you perform the exorcism? The priest shook his head. Wrong question, he said. We didn't perform an exorcism. We tried to trap it.
Not her. What was inside her? Irina wanted release, but the thing inside her, it wanted to stay. Alex looked at him and said, "You knew Irina could die, and still you tied her to a cross?" The priest looked down and said, "We all knew, but at some point we forgot that she was a girl, not just a vessel. My greatest sin, I couldn't tell the difference." Then the priest showed him an old photograph from a wooden box, a group photo, Irina among them. But everyone else looked at the camera. Irina's gaze pointed elsewhere, and her shadow fell in the opposite direction from everyone else's. Alex, stunned, asked, "This photo was never released to the public, was it?" The priest shook his head. "After seeing this, I never looked in a mirror again." Alex stood to leave. Behind him, the priest said one last thing. "You'll find what you're looking for, but you're not ready for it." And Alex, Irina didn't know your name, but she said it on the cassette, didn't she? Alex froze in his tracks. He had never told anyone his name. He turned around. The priest was gone. Only the photo lay on the table, and beneath it a note. "He knows your name too." The next morning, Alex traveled to the outskirts of town. There lived a former nun, Sister Aurelia. She had left the Tanacu monastery just a couple of weeks after the exorcism, and she had never spoken to any journalist or investigator since. Alex gently said that he was just looking for the truth about Irina. Sister Aurelia remained silent for a long while, then finally said, "I will speak, but if you ask questions, I will stop." Inside a small wooden room, beside 2 cups of coffee, began the slow, haunting recollection of memories. Irina wasn't quiet, not like they say. She spoke, just it never recorded. We used to wonder why the camera stopped working, but the camera was running. It just didn't capture her. Alex asked, "What do you mean?" With a trembling voice, Sister Aurelia replied, "At 3 a.m., we used to set up cameras in the prayer room. Irina would be standing in the middle, but in the video, the room looked empty. Not even her shadow showed, as if only the air had moved." She lowered her voice suddenly. "I saw her one last time the night before the exorcism. She was standing by the window, but there was no reflection of her in the glass, and her voice was low, almost inaudible. She said, 'He is ready. Now it's your turn.'" Alex asked, "Then why didn't you stay till the end?" Sister Aurelia looked up. Her eyes were red, not from tears, but from fear dried up over time. "Because I saw we were all changing, not just Irina, us. One morning I looked in the mirror, and those eyes looking back weren't mine. They were hers, those hollow, endless eyes." Alex realized that from each witness, fragments of a larger image were emerging, but every color in that image was painted in shadows. As he stood to leave, Sister Aurelia handed him a small piece of paper. It contained a single line, written by Irina, carved on the wall before her death. "He doesn't need to enter your body. He only needs your mind." That night, Alex didn't sleep because he had seen that line before in his sister's diary. Alex had managed to obtain a copy of a confidential government report. It contained testimonies from those present during the Tanacu Exorcism. But in the middle of those pages, there was a fragmented section. A portion of the video footage was mysteriously blank, even though the camera was active. The room temperature suddenly dropped, nearly to 3 degrees Celsius. Irina walked up to the crucifix and said, "I'm ready, but you're not." Alex knew no one could fabricate these things. No one could say them coherently because they were not normal. Exorcism Day, April 13th, 2005, 10 a.m. Irina hadn't slept all night. She was brought in wearing a white gown to a basement room in the monastery. A small, windowless room, floor covered in hay and ancient prayer manuscripts. 3 nuns and Father Adrian stood around, their faces pale, lips dry. Because the night before, Irina had called each of them by their nicknames, but no one had told them their names. She was strapped with 5 leather belts, wrists, ankles, waist. Her head rested on a wooden slab, the way ancient churches restrained possessed bodies. She remained silent. Her eyes stared forward, unfocused. The priest began reciting Latin prayers, but suddenly Irina said, "You're making it up." The recording was running, but the video showed no one, just sound. At first, they thought the camera had malfunctioned, but it was fine. Sister Petra, who was inside the room, later said, Irina's lips weren't moving, but the voice came from all around the room, as if the walls were speaking. They are coming, one after another, and at the end, no one will come, only something will stay. Midway through the prayer, Irina twisted her body and said, "I didn't invite him, you did." Her eyes rolled back, but she remained conscious. The room lights flickered. Sister Aurelia, who was outside, later said, "I heard a voice from inside, male, sharp, not whispering, but clear. It said, 'There's no time left. You came willingly. Now you must give too.'" The prayer continued. After 42 minutes, Irina collapsed, unconscious. Her final words, "He doesn't want to leave. He only wants you to watch." Her eyes were open, but the irises were gone, only white. The pathological report read, "Sudden heart failure due to extreme psychological trauma." But Alex knew that was incomplete. One witness had said her heart stopped after her eyes closed, but she didn't die before that. She died when we started praying again. In the final footage of that day, the room was empty, but something, a shadow, moved beneath the camera. And the most terrifying part, a crucifix kept in the corner, flipped upside down by itself. 3 days after Irina's death, the monastery fell silent. Scheduled prayers stopped. Most nuns began staying in separate rooms. Sister Petra wrote in her diary, "At 3 a.m., the clock stopped by itself. Every night the same dream, someone at the window whispering, 'You didn't finish it.'" A cleaner said, "In the bathroom mirror, it wasn't Irina's face that kept appearing. It was her faceless reflection. My face wasn't there anymore." Alex returned to the monastery and found an old audio recorder. Someone, maybe the priest, maybe another, had recorded every night after Irina's death. At 1:17 a.m., a sound, scratching on the wall. Then a slow whisper, female voice. This body is done. Now it's yours." Alex searched the room and found the wall. Scratches, and beneath them, lightly carved, "Irina, still here." That night, some of the residents tried to permanently seal Irina's room. 3 of them bolted the door, lock, wooden bar, nails. Next morning, the door was open again. No one had gone inside, but something had changed. The crucifix was upright again. Alex explored the old storeroom of the monastery. There he found a coffin-shaped wooden box. Inside, a piece of blood-soaked cloth, an old wooden cross, and a rolled-up note in Irina's handwriting. "They thought I was free, but they never knew. It was not him who left. It was me." Alex understood. Irina was never exorcised. She had left her own body, but the thing inside stayed. That final night, a nun who had never spoken about the incident before committed suicide. On her wall, written in blood, "Don't pray, he hears it." Alex took the night train back to the city, but as he sat alone in the compartment and looked at the window, he saw a shadow standing beside his reflection. He looked away, then remembered he was traveling alone. Alex returned to the city, but a part of him was still trapped in Irina, in Tanacu. He played the old cassette again. Irina's voice still trembled the room. "He doesn't need to enter your body. He only needs your mind." But this time, it wasn't just written. It was being said from all sides. Alex noticed his notebook. Some pages had writings he never remembered writing. "You stayed too long. It's not about her. It's about you." He didn't believe anyone else could have touched his notes. But once fear settles in, logic retreats. 3 days later, Alex sat down to make a short documentary. He arranged the notes, audio, reports, interviews. While playing the cassette during recording, a voice emerged, one he had never heard before. "Alex, why do you think you came alone?" He stopped the video, but each time he played it again, new things appeared. New voices, new shadows, new frames. One night, his recorder captured something he never wanted to hear. He had been asleep, but the recorder was running. In the morning, he played it back. Between his breathing, another voice. "She was just the door. You were the room." Alex returned to the monastery. It was now locked, abandoned. But inside, on a wall, he found something carved. "You watched. You let it stay." No mention of Irina, no date, but the most terrifying part, his full name was carved below it. Alex was never seen again. His phone, camera, and recorder were found at Tanacu. Only one paper note was recovered. "I never wanted to go there. but I had arrived long ago. Irina's death might have been an ending, but some deaths start a new story, and some stories don't ask who saw it. They ask who is still seeing. That was today's story. Tanacu, the crucified girl's final night. A fear born from a true incident, one that still lingers in the air, silently. Stay well. Stay safe, everyone. And yes, before you go to sleep tonight, take a glance at the mirror. Because who knows, maybe you're not the one watching. Maybe someone's watching you. We'll meet again with another terrifying truth. Thank you.
Like and subscribe.